Yo, Shakers, what the is up? We're here with Shaw Lathrop. Lathrop. Damn it. You told me right before the video. Shaw, thanks for joining the Handshakin video series.
Good to see you. It's a pleasure. Thanks for coming down.
Yeah, thanks. Nice tie. Nice.
I just had this, as a Boulderite, we wear lots of ties down here. No, this is the first tie I've worn since going to a funeral a while ago. Hopefully it won't be that type of thing.
No. So Shakers, we're here today with the Handshakin sunglasses that you may or may not know about. Make sure to pick up your free pair in Denver by applying the Handshakin Startup Accelerator. We want to help you launch your business. We want to help you get meetings with 1%. We want to help. Anyway, to start us off, Shaw, could you tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got into entrepreneurship?
Sure. So I think, there's that saying, entrepreneurs are born, not made, and I was somebody who, even at a young age, was kind of interested in starting my own business. I remember back when I was in elementary school, I used to, I would sell baseball cards. I would draw them all by hand, and I would sell them for like $2 a pack, and I would draw in all the people's friends.
Nice.
And then years later, I would make custom comic books. I think I did some inappropriate things come middle school. I was, one of the first people with an internet connection and a color printer.
Ooh.
And so I, in the boys' bathroom, would sell pictures of scantily clad women to prepubescent boys. Not that I do that anymore, but I did when I was a prepubescent boy. And then after graduating college, I was a musician, and I focused for a number of years on working in the music industry. And my side work was on the health field. And so after living in LA and doing the whole music thing and kind of getting burnt out on it, I wanted to take better care of myself and really wanted to follow my passion for health. And so I went back to school and continued to learn all these different health modalities and then launched my own private practice. And through that, I actually was the first member to join the Scrib co-working space. Mm-hmm. And so Scrib was open about 4 years ago, and it was a project that I got really passionate about. For me, I was really experiencing a lot of the isolation that comes with being an entrepreneur and trying to do everything myself and feel like I had to know XYZ skill set. Some of which I loved, some of the marketing, branding aspects of it, and some of it I just hated, like the sales aspects and some of the SEO and that stuff. So I had my own health practice, and then little by little I got more and more involved in the community at Scrib and was asked to be the director.
Nice.
About 8 months into its launching.
And now, what year was this?
This was back in 2012.
Cool.
And so Scrib gradually kind of transitioned and grew, and as we built this larger and larger network, we saw this huge opportunity that we had to really give more to entrepreneurship and to help a lot of the startups that we were seeing coming through our door on a daily basis. And so we transitioned Scrib. We kind of actually broke it apart, and so we upstairs, we put in a co-working space called Atomic 20, which is a co-working space that's for freelancers in the creative field, so graphic designers, copywriters, web developers, and then at the same time we launched Boomtown. Nice. And here we are, and we're in our 4th class, and it's one of those things where if you would have told me that this is what I would be doing and be co-founding a startup accelerator several years ago, I would have said, what the hell is a startup accelerator? And here we are today, and we're 30-something companies in, and we're having a good time.
So let's go ahead and dive into our first topic of community with Shaw Shakers. Shaw, I want to hear what you have to say about the community you worked with while you guys were launching Atomic 20 and Boomtown. How did you get plugged in with that network? How did it help you guys here at Boomtown? Could you speak a little to that?
For sure. So when Scrib opened its doors about 4 years ago, it was kind of really, I think, catching a lot of the wave of the co-working movement, which is just continuing to rise more and more. And I think what you're seeing is that as more and more people are having more flexibility in their jobs and things are becoming more remote, you're having more people who are working from home. Obviously in a place like Boulder and Denver, you have a huge kind of drive towards entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And so there was this need, I think, for community. And it's something that people were feeling kind of isolated and looking to be able to have a place where they could go and hang out with people and kind of pick each other's brains and get opinions and feedback, and maybe at the end of the day, put your feet up and have a beer. And so when Scrib opened its doors, it was one of those things where the right people showed up.
Yeah.
And Scrib was great because a lot of it was about breaking even. It was kind of about rallying together all these people that were in a similar situation. And so Toby Kraut and Jeff Donaldson really saw it as an opportunity to attract a lot of talent towards their marketing agency. And so a lot of people that came into this space were people who are graphic designers that they've been working with for years. And then I wasn't actually part of it, but I feel so involved in everything that's happened down here. So Atomic 20 was responsible for branding the state of Colorado, and that kind of further expanded the network and brought a lot more talent into the pool.
Yeah.
And just watching it as it grows more and more has been wonderful. A big part of the strategy behind growing Scrib was to have an open door policy, so that anybody that wanted to be part of the community could be. And it had a tendency to attract the right type of people and to dissuade the wrong type of people. Yeah. Because you don't want the wrong type of people.
No, no.
And so we would always say, like, any meetup that wanted to be down here, we would host them. And we've had the honor of hosting Boulder Open Coffee Club, Caffeinated in the Mornings started down here. We used to have She Says, Pitch to Developers, iOS, Android meetup. So we wanted to set it up so that it was a place where it was kind of just open to the community. And through doing that and really opening our doors, we were able to meet a lot of just amazing people who are passionate about the same thing. And it's the type of thing where, in looking back, I don't know that we could necessarily recreate it. I think there was that certain bit of just being in the right place, the right time, and having the right people come.
Yeah, absolutely. We've noticed that too with Startup Denver. Our goal is to just always have free events open to the public, and once you figure out who you are and who you aren't, it attracts the right people. And we've been also just as fortunate as you guys to not have any creeps come and ruin our events. Don't come to our event if you're a creep.
We have some creeps from time to time.
So now, how has community evolved? Now having spent some time here with Boomtown and being already one of Colorado's big success stories, how have you seen community help aspiring entrepreneurs?
I think community is probably the biggest factor in success, because I think at the end of the day, business really is a lot about relationships. It's a lot about the opportunities that you can find that you might have no idea even existed until somebody says, oh, let me introduce you to so-and-so, and that can really open doors. I know that's kind of a big part of your philosophy.
Yeah, let's come over here and handshake this person.
Exactly. Sometimes it's about being able to talk and meet somebody, and ideas can sell themselves. I think there's no way to properly give the weight and credit to mentorship that it really deserves, because you see it all the time where people have this idea for what they need to do, but a lot of it, you're kind of, as an entrepreneur, you're making it up, you're trying things and you're failing, but a mentor is somebody who can kind of come in and who knows a lot of the struggles you're going through or understands the industry really well, and can actually shorten the path. And it's amazing to sometimes it's all about meeting this one person, and it opens all the doors.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I think there's kind of this old school mindset about what networking is and what about building and developing a network, and there is this idea that's very antiquated and is in the dark corner of chamber meetings all across the world where people are, here's my business card. Let me tell you what I do. Let me sell you right now.
Me.
Because you need my services.
Me.
That just doesn't work. But anyway, so I think what I think is more successful is if you treat it as an opportunity to make friends.
Yes.
And I think that if you respect people for who they are and don't have this agenda of let me get something off you or we can benefit each other. Instead, if I see you as somebody who I relate to, I connect with, maybe nothing will ever come of that. But chances are, if you reach out to me and you're like, hey, can you make an introduction to such and such a person? If I feel like you're just trying to glean from me and benefit, I'll probably be like, okay, I have a lot in my inbox, maybe I'll get around to making that introduction.
Yeah.
Versus if you're somebody who I feel like I have a connection with and I'm personally invested in, then you're like, my mind perceives, this person is my friend. I want my friends to succeed. Yes. Let me make that introduction. And I think that's a mentality where the more that people can get into that, the more that we all succeed.
Absolutely, Shakers. And right now, Shaw is describing something right in our next topic at experts. So let's go ahead and move there. So what does it look like if someone emails you asking for an introduction? You just told me that if it's informal and you view them as a friend, you're more likely to help them rather than if they're just trying to use you.
I think a big part of this is a big etiquette thing, and it does piss me off. It probably shouldn't, but it's one of those things where it's like when I get those emails where somebody just out of the blue makes the introduction to me, and is like, oh hey, I want you to meet this person, and they're in the email, then I'm obligated to respond or I look like an asshole. Versus I think the etiquette is to say, hey, there's this person I think I'd really like to introduce you to.
Here's their LinkedIn.
Yeah, or can I make an introduction? Chances are either way I'm going to respond, but there's something about it that gives me more agency instead of all of a sudden putting something on my plate to have to get back to somebody.
Well, now I have a question on that.
That might not have been your question.
No. That's absolutely my question. Is how does all that work? When is someone allowed to introduce you to someone as if they're your mother versus when are they allowed you to introduce you to someone when you just met them? It's like different people have different access levels, for lack of a better word. And I'm curious, when you first meet someone, probably the very next email I send you shouldn't, if I just met you today, the next email I send you shouldn't be like, hey, can you meet with this random person with no background information?
Yeah.
They're stupid. But once we develop a relationship and we see each other's online presence and what we're about, and then maybe it's appropriate to give you some background information, ask if you can make it.
Sure. Yeah.
But when is that point where we know each other so well or we're working together so closely that it's safe to just make the intro? Is it after you've had tequila shots together?
I suppose it depends on the intro in a lot of ways. Yes, everything is better after tequila shots.
Tequila shots help with intros, Shakers.
No, I mean, it is an interesting question, and I don't think it's a black and white type of thing, because sometimes I get those introductions, and it is like incredibly helpful and thoughtful to me. And I think I've become more jaded over time, because I do want to constantly be taking the meeting, but part of that is that when somebody makes that introduction, all of a sudden I have to act at that point. And I think I've gotten more jaded versus, when I first started here, if I would get an email, I'd be like, oh, somebody likes me this.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, it's a fight against the inbox.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have a lot on the plate, it's a kind of a double-edged sword, because you do want to take the meeting, but at the same time, it's hard to take them all.
Yeah. So you said inbox, and recently, especially with our past guest Seth Levine, we talked about inbox strategy, Shakers. How do you stop your inbox from kicking your ass every day? And we've talked about Sanebox, Boomerang. Are there any cool tools that you use?
No.
No.
I'm a big fan of. I use my inbox essentially as my task list. I still use Trello boards and other things, but I try to make a point to zero out my inbox by the end of the week.
Wow.
So that I'm not leaving anything lingering. And often I'll get to the stuff that's most critical, and then the stuff that's kind of easier to do, and then towards the end of the week it'll be those things where I'm kind of like, okay, let me knock out these last 5 or 6. So if you get an email from me on Friday, don't take it personally. Sometimes like it's one of those things where it's like, okay, in order to answer this question, I have to talk to 2 different people.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to kind of drop everything and answer that email right away.
Yeah.
But I think setting that up is really helpful. And so label :unread.
Mm-hmm.
Do you use that at all?
Yeah, the unread label?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that's my
marking them back
inbox hack.
check it,
Because
go
if I have an email that I didn't get to from Tuesday, it's going to get buried.
Yeah.
But then I can look at all my emails in one, and maybe it's just a little block, and then I can kind of be like, okay, that one.
Yeah, definitely. So Shakers, if you get an email from Shaw on Friday, it might mean that you could have made the email a little easier to act on.
Or
Or it was just a bigger email.
Yeah.
A heavier task.
Or, I do my Friday emails with a glass of Burgundy, so maybe I was trying to make it a little bit more personal and special for you, maybe.
There you go. Wow. That's probably. See, I'm so bad. I tried to use all
I'm
these
not
fancy-
creepy. I don't know why I decided to take this whole creepy angle.
Are you creepy, Shaw?
No, I'm not.
You promise?
It's because he's heightened on camera, this personality. I feel like I need to make weird offhand jokes.
Well, I mean, I
don't drink Burgundy on Fridays. I drink it on Wednesdays.
I don't drink Burgundy on Wednesdays. I drink it every morning. All right, so conclusions with feedback. So send emails that are easy to act on unless they are a big task where there's lots of people involved.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I want to talk about something that pisses me off.
What pisses you
Right?
off? Yeah.
What's that quote from Family Guy? Grinds my gears, right?
Yeah.
Right, there it is. You wanna know what grinds my gears? Is when people so you send an email to someone you're trying to engage with, and you're CCing someone who needs to stay in the loop. And then they reply and don't CC this person.
Oh, yeah.
And then you reply back and you CC the person again. And now poor CC is getting a little cluttered and just like digging through all those blocks of text. And then they reply again, and guess what they do, Shaw? They don't CC the person. Pissing me off, Shakers. CC the person that other person CCs because they
CC
probably
that
did it for a
person.
reason. Freaking CC life.
You know what else I hate?
What?
When you send a message to a group and then somebody responds to the whole group with like a personal message back to you.
Oh, yeah.
Like they hit reply all. So maybe I send a message to a Google group or something, and it's maybe all of my mentor network. And I'm like, hey, we're doing this thing tomorrow night, you should come. And then somebody replies back and be like, oh, Shaw, you're so silly, and
Just CC in 60.
yeah, and then it's like, all the mentor network sees that, and now everyone thinks I'm silly.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on to mentors.
All right.
But first, Shakers, one word from our sponsors. So, Shakers, we are back with you, ready to talk about mentorship. Shaw, before you tell us about the mentorship stuff you guys have going on here at Boomtown, could you tell me who was your first mentor? And Daddy doesn't count. We already got enough of Daddy. But who was your first mentor, and what did that relationship look like?
Wow, my first mentor. I can think about some of my biggest mentors in life. And I think a lot of my greatest mentors have been just really close friends. I think people who you really trust their opinion and that they have your best interest in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, some of my greatest mentors are just people who I really felt like cared about me and what I wanted to do and were incredibly selfless. And I feel like because of them, I'm who I am today.
Yeah, now you said two things that we got to highlight. They have your best interests at heart,
Mm-hmm.
and you can trust them.
Yeah, because I think a big part of growing is being vulnerable and being able to show where you need help I think it's also that the informality of it is because the best mentorships are places where there is a mutual respect and there is kind of somewhat of a shared appreciation for who one another is.
Yeah.
So somebody that you would want to hang out with.
Yeah.
Like, I don't often see good mentor relationships that are very like stale and dry and professional. I feel like it is more like, oh cool, like you want to like go take this meeting and, you know, walk around the neighborhood or something like that, or, you know, let's do it over beers, or
Yeah, take some tequila shots on a video series.
do you like mezcal?
I like mezcal.
Yeah, I just got a good bottle of mezcal.
Can we take?
Well, it's not good, but it's tasty.
Shaw, can we become like informal mentor friends and take tequila shots in a video series?
Okay.
I
All right,
that guy's
entrepreneurial ADHD.
This show isn't
what are we
about me,
toasting to?
so who cares?
Stickers on sunglasses.
The stickers on sunglasses.
Wow.
That's good.
Okay. All right.
Wednesday.
So we were like in the middle of mentorship or something.
Yeah, we're talking about mentor relations, right?
Yes, it's best when it's informal. You can take tequila shots. Yes, yes.
My greatest mentor is my boss, actually, and he over the years has become one of my best friends. And I have so much respect and admiration for him, and I feel like I'm very lucky because I get to learn and just pick up little pieces of his brilliance that he drops, little breadcrumbs. You know?
Little breadcrumbs, little white pearls.
And I think, you know, mentorship can take any type of role. You know, brothers and sisters, like, you know, close friends can mentor one another. Obviously, you know, teachers and people who are in that mindset and role.
So to close us out, Shaw, let's move on to the action item. Hashtag action item. What's one thing the Shakers can do immediately after watching this video to help them on their entrepreneurial journey?
You know, I think there's a tendency with starting your own business, and there's this kind of idea, you know, fake it before you make it, and that there's a lot of, you know, posing and propping yourself up, and that a lot of people, when they think of a CEO role and the responsibilities that go with it, they have this idea that a CEO is, you know, they have a vision, they're brilliant, they're unwavering, and that they need to be projecting that all the time, otherwise people are going to know that they don't know what the hell they're doing. And the reality is that nobody really knows what the hell they're doing until they've done it. I think being vulnerable is the best thing that any entrepreneur can do, because I think that that's when people are more willing to actually help you.
Yeah.
If they can see that you're honest, you're transparent, and you're willing to take feedback and criticism, people are more willing to give it to you, versus if you come in and act like you know it all, then people more often than not are going to just kind of sit back and watch you, you know, drive yourself into the ground.
Yeah, it's so true on entrepreneurial Shakers. Be vulnerable.
Be vulnerable. This is a big thing. So day one of the Boomtown program, this is what we cover. We talk about vulnerability, and I think that there's a reason that we start out with it, is because it is so fundamental to success. Not only, you know, your success as a company, but your success as a person, I think, comes down to being able to learn and grow and accept that you don't know it all.
Yeah, it's true. We don't. Sweet. So get out there, Shakers. Be vulnerable, or don't. I think that's about it.
All right.
Shaw.
Schwa.
Shaw.
Shaw. It is Shaw.
Schwa.
Please don't call me Schwa.
You started it.
I know, I was joking.
Schwa. If we want to find you or Boomtown Accelerator online,
Yeah.
where the hood at?
www.boomtownboulder.com. On Twitter, I'm not the one you're going to be talking to because I don't tweet, but at Boomtown. We were lucky enough to get that handle.
Shaw. Schwa.
Schwa. Matt.
Thanks for joining the Handshakin video series.
My pleasure.